Howdy, folks. I'm Uncle Sam, and boy, do I have a star-spangled tale for you today.
Sir, are you sure about this? It's awfully cold up there.
Cold? Ha! American spirit will warm you right up. Our brave diplomats touched down on Greenland's icy shores.
Look out for that polar bear.
Gruel, Afaf.
But the real challenge was convincing Greenland itself.
Why should I join you?
We've got hot dogs, baseball, and freedom.
Freedom? I'm in.
And just like that, it was time for the big moment.
Almost got it.
But wait, here come the Canadians.
The stars and stripes unfurled, bringing a new dawn to Greenland. Hooray! USA, USA, USA! On a serious note, the U.S. Greenland relations have been a hot topic lately. Canada's role in this debate is key, affecting the global economy and politics. The U.S. has long wanted to include Greenland in Canada, which would change North America's Arctic area. It's important to know why the U.S. wants this, and what it might mean for the area. Adding Greenland and Canada to the U.S. would grow its land and impact its economy and defense. The relationship between the U.S. and Greenland is complex, with Canada playing a big part. The U.S. has long been interested in Greenland and Canada. There have been attempts to buy or join them to the U.S. before. Canada's involvement in this debate is crucial, adding to the complexity of U.S.-Greenland relations. The U.S. has shown interest in incorporating Greenland and Canada into the United States, which could have significant implications for North American Arctic relations. Canada's quiet stake in the U.S.-Greenland debate is a significant aspect of this discussion, with Canadian involvement in Greenland debate being crucial. The incorporation of Greenland and Canada into the U.S. would not only expand the country's territory, but also significantly impact its economy, defense posture, and global influence. The U.S.-Greenland relations are complex, with various factors at play, including the potential implications for North American Arctic relations. The Canadian involvement in Greenland debate is a significant aspect of this discussion, with Canada's quiet stake in the U.S.-Greenland debate being a crucial factor. The U.S. interest in Greenland and Canada is not new, with historical attempts to purchase or incorporate these territories into the United States. The evolution of Arctic diplomacy. New shipping routes and access to natural resources are opening up. Arctic geopolitics is crucial in shaping the region's future. North American diplomacy plays a big role in this. Canada is rethinking its strategic interests in the Arctic. This is to make sure Canada remains strong in the region. The Arctic has always been a complex area of international relations. Countries have competed for influence and control here. Now, the power dynamics are changing, with new players and old ones adjusting. This change is because of the Arctic's growing economic value. It may hold large amounts of oil and gas. The emergence of new shipping routes and access to natural resources. The shifting power dynamics in the region, with new players emerging and existing ones adapting. The growing economic importance of the region, with the Arctic potentially holding significant reserves of oil and gas. As the Arctic evolves, it's vital to think about how these changes affect Canada's strategic interests. We must also consider the broader context of Arctic geopolitics and North American diplomacy. Canada's quiet stake in the U.S.-Greenland debate is often overlooked. Canada plays a big role in the Arctic, focusing on protecting the environment, growing the economy, and fighting for social justice. A lot of Canada lies within the Arctic Circle. Political dynamics in the Arctic are complex, with many countries and groups trying to gain influence. Joining the U.S. would give the U.S. a lot of natural resources like oil and gas. This shows how important Canada's role in the Arctic is for the world's economy. The political dynamics in the Arctic are influenced by countries, international groups, and local communities. Some key aspects of Canada's involvement in the Arctic include environmental protection. Canada is dedicated to keeping the Arctic environment safe and its resources untouched. Economic development. Canada is looking into ways to grow its economy in the Arctic, like mining, fishing, and tourism. Social justice. Canada aims to improve the lives of Indigenous communities in the Arctic. Canada's involvement in the U.S.-Greenland debate is crucial. Its role in the Arctic is influenced by many factors, including political dynamics in the Arctic and economic interests. As things change, it's important to think about how it will affect Canada and the Arctic. Strategic importance of Greenland in North American defense. Greenland's location in the Arctic is key for international relations in the Arctic. It has vast natural resources and a strategic spot for Canada's strategic interests. The island holds a quarter of the world's undiscovered oil and gas. It also has known deposits of 43 out of 50 minerals vital to the U.S. Department of Energy. The U.S. Department of Defense's 2024 Arctic Strategy points out the GIUK gap's strategic value. This gap is crucial for international relations in the Arctic and Canada's strategic interests. The U.S. has had a military base in Greenland since 1941. Greenland's leaders want to negotiate directly with the U.S. since 2020. Greenland has 25 out of 34 minerals deemed critical raw materials by the European Union. Approximately 10% of the world's coal and critical materials, including iron, zinc, and uranium, are located in Greenland. Denmark subsidizes Greenland with around $600 million annually, which constitutes about 20% of Greenland's GDP. Climate change makes Greenland even more strategic. It's opening the Arctic to more global shipping and demand for minerals. So, international relations in the Arctic and Canada's strategic interests will be vital in shaping the region's future. Economic interests and resource competition. The Arctic is full of valuable resources like oil, natural gas, and rare earth minerals. This makes U.S. Greenland relations and Arctic geopolitics very important. The U.S. wants to grow its influence in the Arctic, driven by economic goals and competition from China and Russia. Some key facts about the Arctic region's resources include: the Arctic is estimated to hold 13% of the world's oil reserves and nearly 30% of its natural gas reserves. Fisheries in the Arctic account for 10% of the global catch, generating an average of $560 million annually. The Arctic is estimated to provide $281 billion worth of food, minerals, oil, and gas. The U.S. Greenland relations are key in Arctic geopolitics. The U.S. aims to get access to these resources and protect its economic interests. The region's importance is growing, with more military presence from Russia and China, and a rising interest in its natural resources. The Arctic has a unique and delicate ecosystem. About 80% of Greenland is covered by thick ice. The area around the ice cap is up to 300 kilometers wide, covering 410,000 square kilometers. Some major environmental issues in the Arctic include climate change impact. Rising temperatures and melting ice harm the environment and ecosystems. Scientists from different countries are teaming up. They aim to understand climate change impacts and find ways to mitigate them. Canada must tackle these environmental concerns and shared duties. By collaborating with other countries and organizations, Canada can help fight climate change. This will protect the Arctic's fragile ecosystem. Indigenous peoples and cross-border relations. The Arctic is home to many indigenous groups. Canada's strategic interests are linked to their well-being and self-governance. The Inuit Tapiriet Kanatami represents Inuit in Canada's Inuit Nunangat, showing the importance of indigenous rights. International relations in the Arctic are complex. 3 international borders have historically limited travel and trade among Inuit and Chukchi peoples. But recent years have seen a renewal of ties, making travel and trade easier. The June 14, 2022, Agreement on Hans Island is a key example of international relations in the Arctic and Canada's interests. Some important points about Indigenous peoples and cross-border relations include Indigenous self-governance, land and resource rights, and traditional knowledge recognition have advanced unevenly across the circumpolar north. Indigenous territories and organizational boundaries overlap with ecological, environmental, and economic borders in the Arctic. The understanding of Arctic borders can vary significantly based on historical, political, ecological, and economic perspectives. In conclusion, the complex relationships between Indigenous peoples and cross-border relations in the Arctic are key to understanding Canada's strategic interests and international relations in the Arctic. Recognizing Indigenous rights and self-governance is crucial for a fair and sustainable future for all in the region. The Arctic geopolitics scene is full of competition. Countries and groups are fighting for power and control. The U.S. wanting to be involved in Greenland has caused tension with Denmark and Greenland. This shows the tough diplomatic situation in the area. The waters and skies near Greenland are a big worry for Canada. This is because Russia's Arctic bastion is close to important sea routes between North America and Europe. Key challenges in the region include military threats aimed at opening pathways through towards North America, indicating a strategic focus on offensive capabilities. Russian military capabilities are evolving with significant investments in long-range strike systems that can potentially reach North America. Advances in submarine and missile technology are complicating traditional threat assessments in the GIUK region. Despite these challenges, there are chances for working together. The report says Canada's role in NATO is crucial. It highlights the need for teamwork to keep the Arctic and North Atlantic safe. Understanding the complex Arctic geopolitics and North American diplomacy is key. Countries can tackle common problems and support each other's interests. This needs a careful approach considering the past and the changing power balance in the region. As the Arctic changes, focusing on cooperation and diplomacy is vital. This ensures a stable and safe Arctic for everyone. Conclusion: the future of Arctic cooperation and Canada's role. Canada's role in the U.S. Greenland debate is growing more important. The Arctic is changing fast, with ice melting and new shipping routes opening. This change is reshaping the North's politics and economy. Canada is key in shaping Arctic cooperation. The country has a big role in solving Arctic challenges, like protecting the environment and respecting Indigenous rights. Working together is crucial for Arctic cooperation's future. Canada, with its vast territory and Arctic connections, is a vital partner. It can use its knowledge and influence to help the Arctic become more sustainable and fair for everyone.